What is up, everybody, and welcome back to a Reactivity Town episode of 15 of ReZero Season 3. I think it's 15, yeah? Yeah, 15 of Season 3 of ReZero, now how it goes. So, basically, this is the plan for this episode, okay? We got pre-Yap, which is going to be largely based on last episode, because I just finished reading the light novel, I think it was the light novel, for episode 14, like those chapters. And so there's some stuff I want to talk about there. Some commentary on the, how do you pronounce their last name? Asteria, their family dynamic, etc. And then we got break times 13 and 14. Yeah, 13 and 14, and then we're going to watch the new episode. That's the scheme. So, initially, boom. I don't even know if I'm going to have this on screen, because I don't know if I'm allowed to just have the light novel on screen. I'll talk about a few things, though. So, well, I'll grab a few random bits. So, reading this, I would recommend. I quite liked reading through this. It was a little 29 pages, took me a little bit, but I think really good emotional writing. All right, we can put some respect on it, right? But B, there were also a lot of really important details and like things that were more clear, right? So like, I don't know, one detail that's I think worth bringing up is what was it? Sword God. Yeah, the Sword God, which is basically part of the divine blessing of the Sword Saint, is somebody that like straight up talks, okay? And you might be confused, like, what do you mean the Sword God talks? Yeah, that's what I was saying. But I think there's some, so like, right here, right? So this is Teresa doing something, right? Swinging a sword, reaping some people, doing her thing. She could hear laughter. It was the same voice that she had always heard in her head. Teresa finally realized that it was the voice of the Sword God. And this is when she starts killing people for like the first time. I think it's the first time, right? And so that's very notable because last episode I was speculating that there has to be an intelligence behind the moving of the Sword Saint ability, right? The divine blessing, because the timing of Reinhard getting it right when she's fighting for the first time in like 30 years or however freaking long is crazy. That's crazy timing. And then also for her to get it instead of any of her brothers is also pretty crazy because she's the one that wanted it the least and they actually were training for it, right? And she didn't train at all. She was looking at flowers and shit. Yeah. And so for there to actually be a sword god whose voice was like doing shit is crazy, right? Let me try to see if I can find another example. Oh yeah, or like stuff like this, right? So like, and then something very notable about her relationship with Wilhelm is that she stops hearing the voice of the sword god, right? And so, which is pretty. I mean, that's a great way to show her love for him, but also, she previously could hear the voice of the sword god, right? What was the introduction? Teresa was the sword saint, the being placed in the pinnacle of swordsmanship, possessed of the sword god's love, right? Blah, 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 blah. So I think that's very notable. What was the first sword saint? How many times does sword saint? Oh my goodness, 72 times. Oh my goodness, they say first sword saint? First. Aha! So this is another important thing. The first sword saint. So, the dragon sword, which is the sword Reinhardt has, right? It's the super sword saint sword. Say that 5 times fast. This sword is important because it's been passed down generation from generation between all the sword saints. It's even so crazy because we know how like you can't draw it all the time. Like poor Regulus didn't get it drawn on. Some sword saints don't even get to draw it. Like they never even their entire life they'll try that thing like 30 times. That shit will never open. There were past sword saints who never once saw its naked blade, right? And so it's called the dragon sword Reed. Right? I think Reed is the name of the first sword saint, right? Or am I tripping? Oh, wait, no, I think I'm tripping on that. No, wait. I'm not tripping on that. No, yeah, I'm not tripping at all. It's right here. In honor of the great feats achieved by the first sword saint, Reed, Astera, hundreds of years ago, blah, 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 blah. Teresa was no exception, and because of that, she did not like her ancestor, Reed, Astera. In fact, she hated him, right? And so there's this... The dragon sword comes from the first sword saint and is named after the first sword saint. And then also, she really hates him. And then, yeah. I feel like so the reason I'm talking about any of this is I'm trying to figure out what the blessing is. You know what I mean? Because we know that there's like some level of like a sword god that can like speak in the like. I don't know how literal the speaking is, but Teresa finally realized it was the voice of the sword god. That's pretty direct, right? I think she's straight up hearing, not necessarily in her mind, but like she's somehow hearing, and I think it's just her, the sound of the sword god. And I think we might be wondering, like, why is the sword god laughing right here? She could hear laughter. Why is the sword god laughing when she's murking a bunch of people? She's killing a bunch of demi-humans in the war. I think it's probably connected to why she got the ability in the first place, you know? Because my current speculation is that whatever the sword god is, chose her out of her brothers, and then really liked watching her kill people, right? And so there's two reasons I could come up with for that. A, sword god saw the different kids and was like, which kid do I want to choose? That's a crazy sentence. And saw the Reaper divine blessing that Teresa had and was like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's pick her. Or, it decided to pick her because it's mean and it's cruel and it wants her to go fight especially because she doesn't want to, right? There's like two possibilities there. And I am assuming in this speculation that the sword god is actively choosing in some form, that it's like some force or presence that can like choose where the blessing goes. I think there's even like a complete Hail Mary speculation that the sword god is the first sword saint or some shit, right? But I don't know. I don't really know how I don't know what sword god means in this world. But, you know, who's to say, right? I don't know. There could be a funny thought there. Point being, though, I think it's very important that it starts laughing after she starts killing people, when up to this point in her life, she had never wanted to, like, fight or anything. So it's like, why is that so funny, bro? Why is it funny that now she's killing people and she was a pacifist? She wanted to watch flowers grow. And now she's murking people and you find that funny? Like, that's gotta be some sort of, like, evil. Or not evil, but, like, it to me, my guess is that it saw her as a child and she was, like, so sweet. And it was like, you know, it'd be crazy if I took the sweetest child I've ever seen and I forced her to fight to the death. Not that she'll ever die, because she'll be OP with the blessing. That's a surprise tool to help us later, because we're gonna take the blessing away, and then she's gonna die, right? Like that's kind of what I think. I think something's going on there. So there's a lot of like details that can lead to a lot of speculation that's like kind of in there. So I wanted to bring that up. What else did I want to bring up? It's notable that her Reaper blessing was the reason was like I think where she got her pacifism from. Because this is too low. Because remember, like the way it works is that she can't like as long as the blessing of the Grim Reaper is active, the wounds on his body would never heal. I think the point of that, right here, Teresa was scared of the blessing of the Grim Reaper, which she had been born with. The wounds that she caused others would never heal; they would simply bleed forever. When she realized the power of that blessing, the young Teresa became scared of even herself, and so to not allow anyone to find out about her blessing, she chose to seal away her strength. Going about life without ever injuring anyone was far more difficult than she had imagined once she had decided on it. So her being born with the blessing of the Grim Reaper was exactly why she didn't fight, right? That's what caused her pacifism, because she was terrified of hurting somebody and then they could never heal, you know? So like the power of the blessing is so strong that she was terrified of accidentally hurting somebody with it, you know? Because it's like an infinite, it's a forever hurt, right? And so that's again makes me think like, well, why did she get this blessing? Is it just a random thing? Because it's really funny to give the blessing of the Grim Reaper to a child, to a sweet child in a family of swords people, and then later they get the blessing of the dragon, or not the dragon, the freaking sword saint stuff, right? And so the kind of, I almost wonder if there is an in-world like manipulation occurring from like the sword god or some force or some presence or whatever that was like actively hoeing her, because she really got hoed. Pacifism, sword saint. That's the worst combo, right? Yeah. And then she, you know, watches all her like family die. I mean, we saw that in the episode, right? So I thought that was really notable. And I wanted to bring that up. What else did I want to bring up? A lot of really sad stuff. You know, trying to murder Pandora. They don't even say Pandora. It's just the girl with platinum hair in here. So it's funny. Like, I imagine if I was reading this, I might not have even understood, what it was. I mean, I don't know. Maybe who knows? But in the anime, at least, it's like I immediately see Pandora. It's like Pandora, But here, it's like, who the frick has platinum hair and why are they here? It's kind of a funny thing with that. Okay. Next conversation topic is the 3 goobers at the end. Well, the 4 goobers at the end. Well, you know what? No, fault. I gotta bring this up. Right here. This is crazy to me. So it's not that crazy, but this is like talking about the beginning of the family drama kind of spinning out, right? So this is where Teresa and Wilhelm, like, they fall in love, and it's like, oh, let's have some kids together. And by kids, I mean one kid. They only have one kid. They only have Heinkel. But yeah, so they have a kid. They have Heinkel. What came next was no one's fault. Not Heinkel, who was so earnest and made every effort to study the blade, even though he was never rewarded for it. So that's important. That gives us understanding of why Heinkel is like such a piece of garbage. He was expecting to get the Sword Saint blessing, and then it hopped over him. So no wonder he hates Reinhard, right? And that's something that's surely been said already, or like we could easily infer. But a reminder I think is worth saying, that he actively was trying to do sword stuff, and then it jumped him, and so that's just crazy. And then Luana, which is his Heinkel's wife, got Sleeping Beauty disease, which is just basically like, she big snoozing and shit, basically a coma. And then Reinhard just got hoed. So one notable thing about that, well, wait on this. None of them were at fault. None of them did anything wrong at all. Heinkel grew twisted. Luana was trapped in her dreams, and Reinhard simply wanted to be loved again. It was Teresa who was at fault. Teresa who noticed and did nothing. This is the crazy thing to me, right? If, like, Teresa, okay, this is after she lets go of the sword, right? Because this is right before she picks it back up again to go fight the whale. So she's decided, like, now she's settling down with her family and shit. She kind of fumbled it. And this is crazy, because I know everybody's going to love her because she's really sweet, and it's like a really good and loving and like romantic relationship. But it's like, you don't want to do sword stuff. I get that. Like, you don't have to do sword stuff. But if you're going to, like, dedicate yourself to family stuff, you can't notice your family falling apart and do nothing. That's kind of a misplay, no? That's kind of crazy, no? Because she's literally, like, right? It was Teresa who was at fault. She noticed and did nothing. She noticed, like, Reinhard simply wanted to be loved again. And she saw all this and she didn't, like, reach out to her grandkid. I feel like that's kind of crazy. If your only son, you have one son, it's not even like you have a bunch of kids to look after. You got one son and his wife is in a coma. Are you not giving how much like affection are you giving? How are you trying to help here? Because I feel like she wasn't trying, I don't know. It sounds like she wasn't trying to do much. And then it reached a breaking point, and then she decided to take action. And so this is the next thing, right? Because after that, the idea for her to go fight the whale comes up. And right here, Wilhelm's like, how could you? Where did you even hear about that? And then he realizes somebody else suggested it. And he says, that fool, he should know some shame. And she's like, neither you nor I have the right to say that. She regretted what had happened to their son just as much as Wilhelm did. So what we can pull from this is that Wilhelm didn't want Teresa to go fight the whale, understandable, but Teresa was told by Heinkel, yo, go fight the whale. Heinkel wanted her to go fight the whale, right? And I assume that that's because Heinkel thought that the whale might be correlated with his wife being trapped in her dreams. Because gluttony, it's just gluttony shit, right? We know that Rem is currently, like, in a similar situation where she's trapped in, like, a coma, basically. And that has to do with gluttony stuff. And obviously the whale had to do with gluttony stuff. So perhaps Heinkel was thinking, like, maybe if we kill the whale, she'll get fixed, you know? I think that's my they don't really give more information for why he had that thought process, but that's my guess for why he thought that. Was that, oh, we killed a whale that saves my wife? And that Teresa, who up to this point did nothing about the relationship or, like, the falling apart of her family, was like, oh, I'm the sword saint. If this can save the wife, my son's wife, then this is how I, like, fix this, you know? So up to this point she did nothing, and now she finally gets the chance where he's like, go fight the whale, maybe it'll save her. And I'm speculating a little bit there. And then she's like, you know what? I haven't done enough. I'll do this, you know? So I think that's kind of shows, like, the contrast, which is why she goes out and does the whale stuff, or and goes and fights the whale. And then also it deepens Heinkel's brain trauma, because Heinkel's the one that told her to go fight the whale, and then she dies fighting the whale, and then he blames Reinhard for getting the blessing. Bro, you're the one that sent her there. Heinkel, are you stupid? And it's crazy. This is before she died, and it already says Heinkel grew twisted. Heinkel! You lost, your wife's in a coma, and you send your mother to her death. And then you blame your son. That's crazy! That's actually a crazy dynamic. No? That's crazy! I don't even, dude, this guy's, it's just like, how many misplays can you watch in a row? You know what I mean? No wonder he is how he is. That's actually so funny when you say it out loud like that. Crazy. So yeah, that's notable though. It's really funny to me that Teresa gives up on the sword to commit to Wilhelm, has a family, and then engages with her, and then her family starts falling apart, and then she goes back to the sword to fix it. It's like there's something very ironic to me about that. How she pivots to family as or to Wilhelm as family, let me do peaceful shit, and then her peaceful shit falls apart, and then she goes back to fighting to deal with it, Of course, at the behest of her son. It's not like she just did it for no reason. But it's ironic that she went back to the thing she was running from for so much of her life. And I guess it's probably the same. You could tag on the same thing that her and Wilhelm were talking about earlier, about how I draw this sword to this sword is meant to protect someone. So she was probably thinking that shit of this sword is meant to protect my son's wife and my son's brain from his trauma that's currently going on, something like that. And so yeah, but it's just crazy that's Teresa who noticed and did nothing. It just that line is crazy to me, and it makes me think that she kind of fumbled the family, that she didn't do it. She failed. She failed them at the familial stage, and then resorted to fighting, and then that of course killed her, which is ironic because it's maybe if she did something, maybe if she reached out to Heinkel more, maybe if she helped Reinhard, who just wanted to be loved, maybe if she actually cared for her family more, then none of this would have ever happened, because Heinkel wouldn't have been crazy enough or desperate enough to convince her to go out to war. So yeah, I think there's a dramatic irony there of her familial failings leading her back to the thing that she always ran from her entire life, which of course led to her death, which just made everything even worse. Wow. Yeah, that's that tagline that I just had. Write that down, put it at the end of an article, send that shit. All right. And then basically, okay, so that's that. And then last thing is the 3 at the end. What I like about the light novel is that it makes the energy of the scene more clear when Reinhard is, or when Wilhelm is, after she turns to ash, right, at the very, very end. Because, let me find this spot right here. Okay, so they're yapping. He says, stay back! Or, don't, he says, don't touch me. Touch me. Here we go. So, the bleeding had stopped, but the wound in his leg was deep. He had lost a lot of blood. Reinhard immediately reached out his arm to support him being Wilhelm. Reinhard reaches out to support Wilhelm, but, do not touch me! Wilhelm roared just before Reinhard's fingers reached him. Reinhard stopped, but Wilhelm made no effort to look at him. Their eyes did not meet as the sword devil quietly exhaled. Reinhard, yes, sir. And then he asks, do you regret cutting Teresa, your grandmother? And then Reinhard, a.k.a. Rein the Goat, says, no, sir, I did what was correct. I have no regrets. That's damn right, Reinhard. That's what we like to hear. But yeah, because in the anime, Reinhard's just or Wilhelm's just stay back. But here, he screams out, do not touch me. That's a way, that pushes the energy and makes it so much clearer to me. Because, I don't know, I didn't I was kind of just in the mind brainwave of yeah, it's not great, but it's good enough, at the end with, their relationships. But this makes it even more clear how, Wilhelm's feeling. Because it's louder and it's more extreme, Because, especially with Reinhard actively trying to support you and you, push him away like that, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, who's the goat here? It's easily Reinhard. Sorry, Wilhelm. Sorry, Teresa, too. And sorry, Heinkel. Y'all have failed your youngest, okay? Reinhard's the GOAT. I'm always going to be on Reinhard. You know what I mean? Because Wilhelm, do you regret cutting Teresa, your grandmother? No, sir, I did what was correct. I have no regrets. Yes, of course. You are correct. I was wrong. I have nothing else to say to you. And then he turns away. And then he's like, go save other people, you know? Which is like, by the way, I appreciate that Wilhelm. Wilhelm, for being emotionally compromised, this is a pretty good response. The thing, though, is that, like, even if, okay, and this is crazy, but even if Reinhard, I think what makes Wilhelm so mad is that Reinhard's not even, like, seeing Teresa as Teresa. He's just seeing her as a corpse. And Heinkel, and that's what makes Heinkel so mad too, where Heinkel's like, what all this stuff that they were just talking about, you think that was just a corpse? And Reinhard's like, the dead don't speak, bro. You know? That situation. That is what makes them so mad at Reinhard. However, even, like, take that part out for a second. Do you regret cutting Teresa, your grandmother? Even if Reinhard was like, yeah, that's my grandmother, I'm still glad he killed her. Every day of the week, she needed to die. She was trying to fight them. Reinhard literally saves both of their lives, right? Because Wilhelm's about to get stabbed, and Heinkel is about to get stabbed too, because guess what? Wilhelm was losing the fight. Which, by the way, earlier in the chapter, the reason why Wilhelm started losing was because Heinkel showed up and distracted him, right? Which is ironic, because the relationship between the sword and the family is weakening each half again. It's the same shit I was just talking about with Teresa. He's fighting Teresa, he's doing a great job stabbing and shit, and then his pure blade becomes like corrupted by seeing Heinkel, and his focus is broken, you know? And so there's something, the way that their family is so messed up, which just corresponds to their swordsmanship falling apart, and then kind of vice versa, is pretty interesting. But yeah, even if, like, oh, it's my grandma, oh no, I'm still good, Reinhard, cut her in half, it's fine, she can turn to ash. Like, I don't know, bro, it's just, he saved both of your lives, and is gonna proceed to save a bunch of other people's lives, and also just saved a bunch of people's lives 5 minutes ago by dealing with, Regulus. Like, it's depressing, but it is what it is. I think it's especially depressing because in the episode itself, like, the last thing that Teresa is thinking, in regards to Reinhard, is the stuff of, like, I really hope that you don't, right here, I pray you will have new encounters in your life with more than just the sword. This is, like, her last hope for Reinhard as she's, like, jumping Pandora. The sad part is that he doesn't get this. He pretty much just is the sword. And so her last hope for her grandson fails because her grandson's the GOAT. But honestly, dude, you're the sword saint. Like, and this is crazy, but it's kind of like, Teresa, like, let's talk for a few minutes here. You chose, and this is, I don't think this is necessarily wrong, okay? Because I think choosing your own happiness is it's really hard to condemn choosing your own happiness, right? However, she has the strongest ability in the game, in the entire world, and she, like, went and, like, grew flowers, right? And so when there are, like, you know, witch archbishops going around and, like, whales and shit, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, go grow flowers. Like, even if your husband-to-be has to beat it into you, you know? And that's the thing. I mean, that's what makes the Wilhelm, like, love shit so much, is that he works so hard so that she can do that, and so he can, like, take her place, right? That's the entire point. I get that. But at the same time, it's, you know, even when she's a kid, right? I mean, and you can't, I'm not going to blame her when she's a kid. Like, in the first fight, where she's out, she's, you know, alone and, like sad and crying as, like, the war's going on. So she's gonna surely she blames herself for her brothers dying and all this shit. And the thing is, like, you're not wrong for blaming yourself. I know that's crazy of me to say, because obviously you're not the one that killed them, but your inaction made it so that they took your place, and then they died in your place. So I don't blame you for blaming yourself. You know what I mean? You're a kid though, so I'm not gonna pressure you for that. And then that, of course, Wilhelm then gets to be the version of her brothers and her uncle who actually survives and who actually gets strong enough that she can relax, whereas none of them were able to do that because he was so singularly devoted to the blade, aka her. So again, it shows like how good their relationship is, but also, you know, a lot of people, you can save a lot of people with that kind of ability. And so when it comes to like the, oh no, Reinhard, you know, he doesn't get to have the life that she had, right? Where she got to do things other than the sword. And it's tragic that Reinhard doesn't get to do that. But guess what? It's also heroic that Reinhard doesn't do that. Maybe heroism and tragedy are intertwined, okay? You don't need to be tied down. But, like, he's tying himself down in order to save a lot of lives. Right? I pray you will have new encounters in your life with more than just the sword. But, bro, the sword is out here saving lives and putting threats in the ground. And I'm sorry, but, like, how many threats have you put in the ground? You didn't get the whale. You didn't get Pandora. It is what it is. I think you had a more, that's the thing, dude. She even says in the light novel, like, what a blessed life I had, right? Blessed. From the start to the end, it was without a doubt a blessed life. I had brothers I got along well with, parents who loved me, friends who cared for me, blah, blah, blah. She had a blessed life at the end of the day. Reinhard's life kind of sucks. His family hates him, and all he does is fight, but he is a hero. So, I mean, that's what's so tragic about it, is that I think he is a better person. He is a morally better person, easily, without question, than any member of his family. He's the goat. He's the goat hard, the Rhine goat. However, he has a sadder life. And so it's kind of that's the difficulty of like, what do you support, right? Should I support her for choosing a life that's, for like going with a life that she can be happy with and choosing her happiness because happiness is kind of like the goat? Or even if it's selfish, like selfish happiness, or do we go with Reinhard, who doesn't get a blessed life, doesn't get to do the things that the previous Sword Saint did, his grandma, right? And just fights all the time, but he gets to be the goat, you know? So yeah, ideally, you want to my ideal? Ideally, Reinhard can fight all the time and enjoy it, you know? If he can enjoy saving lives, then that's the best of both worlds, right? Because then you get to be happy and you get to help people. But when you have to choose where she chose to be happy, of course, Wilhelm kind of had to force her to. I'm not trying to paint her that bad. But, and then he, you know, didn't choose that and instead was the goat. What do we do about that, you know? So yeah, it's just interesting. It's an interesting dichotomy, if you will. But every step of the way, I just love Reinhard for it. I think I was talking in the Discord a minute ago about this, and like there was the idea thrown, or like it was said that the author Tapai, whatever his name was, go with you, like intended for people to dislike Reinhard after this chapter. I take that with a grain of salt. I don't necessarily know the source of any of that, but that's kind of a crazy thought that this chapter and like this plot development would ever make me dislike Reinhard, I think, right? Because seeing Reinhard like mercilessly put down his grandma in order to save his father and his grandfather's life, I'm never gonna think he's not cool for that. That's called being the GOAT. Like, if you can wear the face of a family, if you're fighting somebody that is wearing the face of a family member and you still don't hesitate because it's the right thing to do, you're the GOAT. He's just doing what's right, no matter what. So yeah, poor thing for him is he's probably like, you know, bottling a lot of emotions in. I guess what I'm a little worried about is what if like Reinhard has like a crash out arc later where he like goes mad, for, you know. Because right now he's been like really composed like almost all the time. A little bit of emphasis on almost. But perhaps there's going to be a consequence to this later. Like all this emotional stuff that he's like dodging. Because maybe you can't just giga chat it, but he is kind of giga chatting it. It's like I agree with him completely, so why would I ever be on Wilhelm's side? I'm sorry, your love is pure and it's beautiful. I wish I could have a Teresa in my life, but if I chose that lover's life with Teresa, and then a Giga Chad goat comes in and murders her in front of me, he's still right. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta take the good with the bad, right? If you're and that's what I appreciate about Wilhelm is Wilhelm accepts that. Wilhelm is like, yeah, you're right, I'm wrong. And you are wrong. And so the least you could do is admit it, which you do, and so you're good. Love takes you to do crazy things, man. Love is not correlated with moral correctness. I would dare say that morality and love are oftentimes at odds with one another. That a lot of really horrible things probably happen in the name of love. And I think this is kind of a large part of what this episode is back and forthing with. So, yeah. Anyways, that's my extra commentary on that. Break times. Let's do break times. I also did read a few comments, which were nice, but I didn't, I didn't want to respond to them necessarily, but I do appreciate them. I read the ones that are spoiler safe. Also shout out there was one about me being sober. Yeah, I'm not, listen, the drunk ReZero video stays in the drunk ReZero video, alright? We're not extending that to everything else. Episode 13 of the break time. Let's get going in 3, 2. Oh, wait. Subtitles. Okay, they're already on. 3, 2, 1. Bang. What's up, Ottoman? Amelia camp struggles. It's a struggle post. We're gonna see Otto's struggle post. Cuts to Petra. Crazy. Otto, that's crazy of you. You should worry about Garfield. Him being strong doesn't mean you shouldn't ever worry about him. My sweet shonen protagonist, Garfield. Love that guy. I remember Frederica as a character. I don't remember what she looks like when she shifts. Oh, he's the moral center. He's the heart of the camp. You're appreciated, Otto. Otto, you're appreciated. Oh, what? The music cut out? What? Frederica? Put some respect on him. Is she gonna do the leg trick? Oh, Amelia? Let's go with you. Yeah, Otto, they love you. You're Otto. Oh, a little Otto emotional. Wait. Oh, it just jumped to the next one. Oh, frick. Okay, let's just do it back. Hey, next one's also... Okay, 14's also Otto. Let's do it. Break time 14, 3, 2, 1, bang. Frick it. 2 in a row. That is the most Ram thing I could think of, honestly. Yes, I do. I would like to hear it. Oh. Oh. I guess, yeah, this is kind of a interesting thing, like thinking about his relationship with the camp, because he's distrusting of Roswell. Bro. Ram, why are you trying to enter while he's bathing, bro? He's just setting some boundaries. It's okay. He don't F with you like that.
理解しようという僕の姿勢を少しは評価されてもいいと思うんですが。欲しがりすぎね。いやらしい。で、ラムさん的に何か変わったことはありましたか？皆目思いつかないわ。何か偏胸白に対して発言したとか。そういえば、愛していますと伝えたわ。
Wow. And for him to respond by not letting you into the changing room is crazy. He just friend zoned you basically. That's crazy. He wants some space. He said it's moving too fast. No, being honest is okay. But also, you know. Or maybe he's feeling some kind of way. He's like, I don't want her to see my naked body anymore. Not like this. Dude, when she compliments you, she has to say unusually. That's so rude. Yes, Otto! Yes! Oh, okay. Unlucky. Wait, okay. That's kind of an interesting little development that she said that to Roswell, though. Yeah, I feel like the significance of these two break times is mostly in like looking deeper at Otto's connections to each person, because Otto is doubtful of Roswell. And so for him to be talking to Ram about her relationship with Roswell is kind of interesting in that way. And for him to be like, oh, they all trust me, you know, is kind of showing like that he's confident in his position, but then also he's not necessarily trusting all of them because he doesn't trust Roswell until he like checks the book to make sure he doesn't have any like plans that are still brewing. So yeah, I feel like that's the significance, but otherwise, I don't know. Yeah. Also, Ram, I don't know. Your relationship with Roswell is so weird. I just think back to the season 1 scene of her like sitting on his lap while he's like putting magic into like the hole in her where her horn should be. I always thought that was really weird and like really kind of creepy, you know. And I don't know how. There's kind of a question of how like young she was when like she first showed up at his doorstep. I don't really remember. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like it was pretty young because they had been maids for a while, but I don't know. It's really hard to like just like intuitively guess because they're like it's a fantasy world, so who knows how ages work. Oh, I'm an elf. I've been alive for 9,000 years. You know what I mean? That shit is just so hard to guess around sometimes. But yeah, so it's one of those things a little bit, but I don't know. She's just trying to show her affection though, and he's like, all right, don't come in my bathing room. Honestly, good Roswell move. I appreciate that. You know. Why was she allowed in previously? That's an interesting question. I don't know if like that gives like a little bit of like a I don't know, like if I'm letting my maid in while I'm bathing booty naked, that seems a little like a crazy relationship to have with your maid. But you know, I guess he's putting a stop to that, so it's kind of a win condition. That's kind of a movie. Not gonna lie. But yeah, okay. Let's just jump straight into the episode then. Yeah, episode 15. Let me take a sip of the Dr. Pepper. I almost just spat that all over my face. Okay, episode 15. It looks like we're starting with the OP. I honestly have no idea what this episode's gonna pick up with. So let's just go into it in a 3, a 2, a 1. Oh, the OP, of course, but like the actual episode, you know. Who knows? I guess Capella. We're still fighting Capella. I wonder if Sirius is actually dead. Who else do we need to deal with? Gluttonies. All the gluttonies. That's right. We need to fight all the gluttonies still. What? Otto's sea dragons already got murdered. Which is kind of funny. So I'm trying to think. Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like once we get Capella done, we're good. Because Regulus was the strongest, and we beat him. Capella, we don't know how to beat because she just seems to have infinite regen. So that's like really hard to fight. Me singing along with no music playing. Unless you're watching on Patreon, full audio, full video. You know how it goes. Link in the description. A little self plug. Like the video, subscribe if you're new. Blah blah blah. But yeah, if we can beat Capella, then I think we kind of... Because the gluttonies, bro, Reinhard plus 5 seconds of time equals 1 dead gluttony. 3 times, times 3, 15 seconds, solved. Like, it's really that. But I don't know. Oh, I guess Reinhard could probably... Honestly, frick it. Reinhard just go solo, everybody. Thank you. My goat! Get him! We're just one brat? Surely. Oh yeah, remember this guy randomly is like kind of strong now? Or like he had like a special thing when he tried to stab him. Oh, special abilities dropping? Okay. That was kind of cool actually. I liked that. I liked that energy auto. But yeah, like this is such a weak fighting squad. So I just don't know how scared I am of Gluttony. As soon as like a real person shows up. Rory the Bizarre Eater. Oh my goodness, I need my notes up. Okay, got it. Oh, and Julius is... I forgot that these two were out doing stuff. Ooh, wait! Animation on the... I kind of like that little pan, though. That kind of... The camera work is kind of something there. Eat the energy. He dodged it? He limboed it? That's just rude. Okay, I thought... I wish I I feel like understanding the Japanese words would help, because is he saying brother like bro, or is he saying brother like brother? Is it like, bro, LMAO? I feel like he's saying brother like brother. Which is, now I'm confused. Now he's yapping so much. He's shiving! Ooh, that was kind of movie. Big Brother and Ricardo. Yeah, okay, he's saying like brother. Well, is he saying like big bro? I don't know how much it's lingo. Yo, yeah, hey, stop that. Why is he jigging like that? When he knows his name? Ew, stop blushing too. Blech. I don't know if those are sin abilities or just like normal abilities. Oh, he's calling him pretty? Okay, this gluttony might be bi. Huh? Yo, I hate this guy. Can we kill him? What is this? He's doing that? What? Oh, are you... Maybe you can, like, use the abilities of people you eat or some shit? I wonder. Wow, big yell. Good job, Ricardo. Oh, okay. I also wonder, like, what the brother we know, the brother we've put our faith in. I just wanted an appa, man! Okay, I think he has memories that, yeah. So he straight up has memories of, what's his, I don't even remember his actual brother's name. Well, but that's it, doesn't he have a young, what is going on? Wait, he did have a younger brother, right? Or am I tripping? Did he, what do you mean you don't remember? Joshua! Yeah, isn't his name Joshua? Wait, am I tripping? I just have the name Josh. I feel like it was Joshua. Maybe they already ate him. Because that memory flashback was definitely telling us, like, that there actually was a brother, right? Oh, no. We and ourselves. So, yeah, maybe, like, every person you eat, you get their abilities and their memories and shit. Ooh. Oh, Julie's just pissed off. You picked the appa for us. Don't flashback me. Oh, okay, cut away. It's fine. Dude, that's crazy. She put herself back together. Oh, man. Yeah. Al's just yapping. Is it a bluff? Just for you! It was just for you, Capella. Of course she paints her nails even when she goes crazy mode. Especially if it's your first time. Have you died before, Al? What are you yapping about? Save your first for something that really matters. You saying I don't want to take your death virginity. Ugh. Oh, dragon mode. Okay. Oh, shit. I guess you could bury her. That's a pretty good strat, actually. Because, like, have fun with the regen while you're buried. She could turn into, like, a mouse, though. Scamper and shit. Hmm. Yo, does this thing still work? Tink, tink, tink. Is this on? Sirius's body? Or Al? Which one? Okay. Oh my goodness, I was about to say, who's that voice? The cat-eared femboy. Yo. Why'd you respond to cat-eared femboy? I guess fair. I mean, respect. It's absolutely a correct statement. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It surprised me too. Hello? Yo, Al, why are you sus? Why are you sus? You think she's a fake? I thought she had just a ace up her sleeve. Wait, he thinks that she's an imposter. Yo, you don't gotta put yourself on the blade. Come on. Wait, now I don't trust. She's not even looking. She's looking away. She turned into a rat! Capella Yin. A rat king. She turned into a swarm of rats. That's even strong. That's a crazy stronger ability. If she can, like, diffuse herself. Whoa! Your eyes, you forgot about them. Oh, that's crazy. Bro, I saw the way that muscles formed into everything, man. That's crazy. Wow. What a cool little sequence. That did make my heart skip a bit. She likes being thought of in, like, any form, even if it's, like, me thinking how I'm gonna kill you. It's kind of crazy. Her back is doing things to my brain. I'm done for... Okay, so you have a limit. Surely. Surely she's tired, right? Or maybe... or maybe she actually just wants to leave. Wait. Oh, she had it. Oh, that's crazy. She could just summon it like that. The dragon's blood and I are two different problems. Oh, that's really interesting. I guess that makes sense. Like, so the transformations don't get undone, right? Because the transformations are from, the blood, I'm pretty sure. She's just crazy, bro. She gotta pervert everything that's sacred, man. Not to play with corpses. She's just the ultimate contrarian, man. Yo, Felix is doing the girly girl run. I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. Still inefficient, Felix. I kind of expected better, but I'll let it slide. Little rat girl. Felix, I need boom, boom, boom. Come on, Felix. Tripped. Thank you, Reinhard. Dang. He's still thinking about all of last episode when he says that. Did you see the look on his face? He's not having a good time. Okay. Reinhard, go to the next, please. Next group needs your help. The old gardener at Reinhard's place? Okay, yeah, each of the Glennies must be able to eat people's training and magic and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I wonder what else he gets, though. I mean, there's got to be limits, right? Like, can you get a divine blessing? If so, that's really strong. Because if you had enough time to scale, you'd be really, really crazy. Me when I take a bite out of Reinhardt and get all of his abilities. Yeah, I mean, good luck, right? But still. Hicks Hartman. He just ate that guy's, he just ate the memories of that guy. Hicks, no! Wait, you just had to put your foot on him and then put your tongue out? That's crazy. That's a crazy consumption. Nah, yeah, that just got yoinked. That's crazy how fast it can happen. And he's talking through him. Ugh. Million in melee? Melee? Yo, Dinah, lock in. Yeah, you just gotta stat check the guy, basically. You just gotta hit him so hard that it doesn't matter. You know, he just... You know what I mean? Like, throw Reinhardt at it, we win those. Okay, we're fine. Catch him, good catch. Because he's a scaling threat, right? Ugh. Hmm? Oh, prerequisites? Maybe, yeah, maybe there's prerequisites. That he has to, like, know their name in order to eat them. Or something like that, right? That's a... Ooh, smart. Smart. He's me for real, for real. Nobody knows Otto's name. Otto, no. Otto, stop with the tangent. Nobody say anybody's names, right? Oh. Not bad, but... Yeah, so I think... Okay, you need the name. Interesting. And he might not kill people if he can't eat their... He can't eat them first. Right? Because, like... So if he doesn't know your name, that might actually be really good. Because he might avoid killing you because you don't want to waste the meal. That's a crazy thing to be scared of. Be terrified of one touch. Yeah, okay, sure. Ah, the goat! No! Yes, Otto! That's why he's throwing himself in so hard. Huh? What are those? Oh my god, he put 2 bombs on him. Otto got all sorts of tricks up the sleeve. Did we just blast his clothes off? Bro, this guy. There's no way he kills Otto, though, because he doesn't know Otto's name, so he can't eat him first. Yeah. So Otto's safe, as long as nobody can find it, as long as he doesn't have the name. He could just torture him. That's true. Yeah, woo! That's a really interesting problem to be in. Ow! Ow! Stop! Ow! What? A blank banquet? Wait, did we forgore? Did I forgore? Is that Beatrice? Oh! Yeah, I forgot you were in this show. Well, not literally, I hope. I wonder. Okay, nice. No fingers lost. Thank you, Betty. A little scary because we know that they want Betty. So let's really hope they don't cradle Betty. Also, she just... Yeah, he already knows. I mean, she calls herself Betty, so it's kind of already over. Oh, and Rem. If he has Rem's memories, it doesn't matter. Oh, and that... Wait, but Rem would know Otto. Right? Oh, wait, maybe I'm... I don't know if it can chain, though. Surely. Oh, no. Oh, no. And that's why they kept talking to him like hero. Didn't they, like... They were saying all sorts of shit about, like... Yeah, beloved hero. They were glazing Subaru, so that's all just Rem knowledge that they're pumping into him. I wonder why it doesn't know... He doesn't know, Otto's name. Did Rem never know Otto's name or some shit? That'd be really funny, imagine. Imagine Rem just never learned Otto's name. Or some shit like that. Wait, because that's what we're supposed to take of this, right? So, like, also, a hideous banquet... A what? What's the block here? I can't read Japanese! Oh, they just blocked out some of the same stuff. And changed it a little bit. Okay, because he doesn't know Otto's name, so he's going to torture him to get Otto's name so he could eat Otto. But he already knows... How does he know Betty's name? Well, because she calls herself Wait, what does she say here? Yes, aside from the bite marks. So Subaru can hurry up and cradle Betty again. Well, nicknames probably don't count. Because he says Beatrice, doesn't he? Lady Beatrice. Good job, Otto. Good catch. Yeah, so he says Lady Beatrice. So it must be full names, not nicknames. What are you doing outside, Lady Beatrice? And so maybe he doesn't get, like, all of Rem's memories. I'm trying to remember what Rem knows. Because surely Rem would know Otto's name. They hung out a little bit, no? They had to have. There's no way she wouldn't. So why wouldn't... Lai know Otto's name if he has Rem's memories, but maybe he doesn't get like all the memories, or maybe, you know, or maybe he figured it out otherwise, and Otto's just not like Otto does kind of have the power of being just some dude, so maybe he just wasn't important enough to like click some shit, you know what I mean? He's just some merchant low key. But yeah, it sounds like that's the reasoning for why he knows Beatrice's name. So I don't know why he doesn't know Otto's. Maybe I'm a little confused about something there. But yeah, okay. So, and do they? I wonder if they share. Do they share the people they eat? Like if one gluttony eats Rem, do all gluttonies get the memories of Rem? Or no? Right. That's kind of a question to be had. Also, did he get... When he ate the guy... Let's see. No, wait. Right here. He touches him. He says his full first and last name. And then he puts his tongue out. And he licks and shit. And then that's it. And that's it happening. Okay, so he needs to stop you for a second, put your hand on you, say your full name, you're dead. So he didn't get the goat. That's what I'm invested in this random guy. Okay? That one random guy that he jumped for like a split second, he touched him, but he didn't say his name, so it's fine. It's also really smart that Otto grabbed him and was like getting up and close because he knew that he wouldn't kill Otto. Because, you know. Yeah, like over here though. Like these touches aren't doing anything because he's not saying names, so it doesn't matter. And what was the name? Because I remember Julius had the brother that looked like a dork. Didn't he look like a dork? Is that just me? I feel like he had a dorky younger brother. And so, well, he did. He 100% did, okay? I'm not forgetting, too. He didn't eat my memories, all right? Let's be honest. Because, I mean, and then this was it being very clarified to us. Because we literally got, like, a boom boom of it. So it's like, yeah. And then Julius forgot his brother. Because he got munched. And then the gluttonies are just mean. So, like, dude, what... Like, these gluttonies feel kind of weird thematically to me a little bit. Because they make so much sense with their sin. Where I feel like the other ones, like, they had a kind of weird relationship with their sin a little bit. That, like, but gluttonies are just kind of munching and shit, no? They're just trying to chow. I guess there's a little bit of an interesting thing with how, like, they're a gourmet. Right? Where it's like... You can't, it's not just like, it's not like the White Rabbit where it's just you munch everything no matter what, and it's just like mindless like that. So there is a level of like setting it up correctly, and then there's like the mockery afterwards of like, oh, I have all your the memories of this person that doesn't know you, like the one-sided reunion thing. And so there is like a level of like enjoyment of the meal that I guess could be kind of thrown in. But yeah. Dude, I need to look at the sequence of... And then also, yeah, that's why we hated you? Did freaking... I think his name was Joshua. I didn't write down last names, and I'm kind of getting burned for it. Because I think it was Joshua. And Ratchins! That other guy's name is Ratchins. Liliana. Joshua Ratchins. Yeah, surely that's the person I'm thinking of. So yeah, the whole that's why we hated you thing. Did Joshua not like... Julius because he picked him an apple? Okay. Oh, also, yeah, so this we didn't get to see who got hit yet. This will have to be a next episode thing. We don't know whose blood this is. Surely it's Julius, right? I mean, I don't know. The gluttonies seem pretty strong. Like, each of the guys are strong in different ways. The gluttonies seem to be on the same level as Sirius to me, where you can just beat them if you're strong enough. And I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but, like, Capella and Regulus were not that, right? Like, as far as I can tell, both Capella and Regulus have a special... They need something special happen to kill them. We saw that very clearly with Regulus. But then otherwise, Capella can just infinite regen, you know? Like, you send her to space, she cuts her own hand off, throws her hand... Like, that's the thing. Reinhard showing up can just kill Sirius. We already saw this. She had the special ability of... Like I guess even Sirius had the special ability of transmuting her pain to other people, right? And so there was kind of like that's what screwed us up in the beginning with Reinhard killing her, is that it also killed like Subaru and killed everybody, right? And so even Sirius had like a level of inbuilt protection against like extreme strength, but the gluttonies seem unique in not having that ability. Or like not having like an instant win ability. So honestly, I would say the gluttonies are on like Beetlejuice level, where they have a strong ability that gives them combat power, but they don't have a hack, right? Sirius had the hack with the empathy pain bridge, the damage bridge, because that just makes it so you can hold hostages and do all that shit. Regulus was just a walking hack. All he had was a super strong hack, and then Capella has, like, as far as I can tell, infinite regen hack. Plus can turn herself into a swarm, and so you'd need to get every rat. Like, if you wanted to kill her, you'd have to get every single rat. That's a crazy thing to ask. This sequence was fire, by the way. This was the coolest thing I've seen in a while. I'm gonna just, I gotta like watch it slow. Ew, rat swarm! Her, and then it's starting at her legs. It starts going up. Her skin. Her orbs. Her other orbs. Dude, that's crazy. This is look at that. This is like correct. Oh, look at her organs and shit. This is her heart. Lung to lung. The flesh of the boobies. Wait, dude, I know that this is correct because I've seen like anatomical models, but I feel like this has already always looked so strange. Why do they got like little like pouches? Why are boobs made out of pouches? You know what I mean? That's such a strange thing. Who designed it like that, man? Okay, closest thing to a nipple we're ever gonna get. That's so funny. Wait, that's actually so funny. Look, the skin hasn't hit it yet, so it doesn't need to be censored. So that it's like the closest thing. It's literally, this is so close, but the skin hasn't wrapped over it yet, and so it doesn't count as a nipple when it comes to censorship. Even right here, it's so close to a nipple, but it's not a nipple. That is so funny. Muscle armpit. Muscle flesh. She's putting her clothes on. And then the eyes thing, that was so cool too. The way that, it's such like body horror to have the rats dig into her eyes to make her eyes. Oh my goodness. Dude, she is so fun. She is such a fun thing to watch animate. I can fix her, bro. I can fix her, bro. Yeah, and then why? Okay, I wish I could come up with a reason why she would leave other than just gospel said so. Omega lol. It's so hard to like read into that because it's literally just LMAO gospel. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Also, I liked Felix crashing out here. This was pretty emotional. I was kind of unexpected, not ready for that. I mean, because it's all those feelings with Krush, right? And so it's being projected onto all these other people that are undergoing like a similar fate. Yeah. And then also, yeah, I mean, it's also super notable that we never see a shot of Reinhardt's eyes during the episode, right? Like, I don't think we saw it when it was him flying through the sky. Right here. Yeah, so we don't see it there, and then when he's coming down, we don't see it, his eyes, and then when he lands, we only see his back. Which just goes to show that the emotional duress he's under after the whole Reinhardt family drama episode that we just had. And so he's in poor mental condition, which means we're not getting to see his eyes, right? Which makes it harder to read him. But, you know. So that's notable. But also, it's kind of fine. I don't mind it. Like, that's the thing. It's fine until it's not fine. It's totally fine for him to be mentally, like, or emotionally, like, not in the best area until it causes his actions to start to fall apart. And so, yeah. And so we're just really hoping that we can just lock in for the rest of this, like, invasion, and then we can deal with the emotional stuff after. That's kind of my position on the matter, you know? Like, we don't got the time for it now, right? He's got to go fight a gluttony and one-shot a gluttony real quick. I do wonder do killing gluttonies return surely they return all the memories, right? I don't know if I'm assuming that. I feel like there's a world that something was said on that already when Subaru first met with the gluttonies, like in the first core of the season. But I really just don't know. Yeah. Also, they're pretty strong, man. Like, I was kind of thinking for a second that, like, oh, it's a situation where, like, like, he has a lot of skill, but he doesn't have base stats. That was, like, kind of a thought I had. Because obviously he's getting the magic, martial arts, swordsmanship, whatever, of everybody he eats. So he's crazy strong. He's a taskmaster situation, right? A copycat fighter, right? And so I thought, like, maybe he just has, like, a weak base stats, but he has an incredible amount of skill. But we've seen, and so in that case, you just have to find a way to get past the skill. He's kind of like a glass cannon. But that's not even the case, because Otto put 2 explosive bombs on his chest, and he tanked them. So, he tanked them, like, without getting even hurt, right? There's no burns on his chest. It only hurt his clothes. So that means each of the gluttonies also have pretty good base stats, or at least durability, which makes them harder to fight, right? So they have enough base stats to actually use their stuff effectively, not just that they're making up for their lack of base stats with like high ability. Yeah. How do we beat this? I mean, you just gotta attack them enough times. They're only one person, and they have. That's the thing, bro. I'm not even that like. There's two things that make them scary. One is that they can eat you, and two is that they have a lot of skill. But you can beat a lot of skill by just either having more skill or having enough people to just overwhelm them, right? Because you can be a really great fighter, but if you're surrounded by 10 like pretty good fighters, like you can be in a pickle, you know? Especially if you got like people like Otto doing like dragons and like support bombs and shit, right? You like if we threw Amelia plus into like the Julius fight plus throw in like okay, imagine this. Throw in Amelia, throw in Felt, throw in and then take Otto, throw Felt Otto in. I feel like you just overwhelm them. It plus Julius plus Ricardo on one gluttony. Surely you can just doomball them, right? Because there's just so much going on. But with Capella, I don't see it. And then that's kind of the distinction I made earlier. Yeah. The difficulty though is what if he eats you? I guess that's the closest thing he has to his hack. But the thing is, I don't know exactly how he gets to know names because the thing is, you would have such a snowball effect if you're gluttony. Depending on how much memory you get. Because if I eat random Joe Schmo, then I now know potentially the names of every person that random Joe Schmo knows the names of. And so if I eat one person in the fighting group, like Gluttony did, then hypothetically now I know the names of every single person in the fighting group. And that's also, I think, the point with Rem knowing Betty's name. I just don't know why Rem didn't know Otto's name. Maybe it's just Otto being, like, as I was saying earlier, right? I guess I can't really repeat that. But the thing is, like, somebody like Reinhard, everyone's gonna know Reinhard. Everyone knows, he already knows Subaru. Stuff like that. And so, I mean, that's a really scary thought. Whoa. Wait. Gluttony could permakill Subaru. Am I right or am I right? Because Subaru's ability activates on death. And so if Gluttony eats Subaru, which, Subaru doesn't have very much base stats or skill. So Subaru is one of the examples of like a Regulus character, right? That has like a lot of hack. I guess it's kind of vice versa. Regulus is like a Subaru character, right? But Gluttony low-key could bypass Subaru's hack, no? Because couldn't Gluttony just eat Subaru and then Subaru would be put in a coma, just like Rem? And then that wouldn't count as dying, and so it wouldn't count as return by death? Unless return by death could work in that instance because it counts as dying. But I think there's a pretty reasonable suspicion that it wouldn't count as dying and that it would immobilize Subaru. And then the problem with that is that the world would just continue up to the point that that Gluttony dies. And then Subaru would wake back up. And so that could be a really dangerous thing. Because it could just end the game, right? I just spat on myself. Yeah. That's a really scary thought, actually. I don't know if he would, though. I mean, because he wants to, like, set the table correctly, and Subaru's kind of the GOAT. But surely he would, like, go up to Subaru, yap about Rem, be like, LMAO, you forgot! Oh, but Subaru remembers. So there's also maybe a world that could be an interesting conversation. I do hope that Subaru runs into this guy, actually. Because that'd be a really interesting conversation. But yeah, I think more worrying than that is the chance of Subaru getting eaten. Because I think that would bypass return by death. And that's the reason that I'm repeating that so many times is I cannot imagine, no other ability has been able to do that, Because even, the thing is, even, like, Subaru can even kind of kill himself. We've seen that before with, like, him saying, I can use return by death, and then, like, the heart grab. And so, and I think that requires Satela to, like, help him, basically, because also he's said that and it's killed Amelia before. And so there is something to be said, like, if Subaru's, if the thing, because, like, worst case scenario is Subaru is put into a situation where he can't die. That's the worst case scenario, because then he can't use his ability, and it's just over, And so you might imagine him being like chained up would be really bad, because then he's just stuck, right? We kind of saw that with him fighting Beetlejuice in season 1. However, I have in the back pocket that he can just say return by death, and then nobody would be able to like expect him to be able to do that, and he would just kill himself, right? And Satela would help him. Um, yeah. I wonder if Satela can just do it without him asking, or you know, can he just kill himself at will? Because he might not even need to will it for Satela to give him the alley oop. But I would get. Let's just assume he has to will it, right? He has to say out loud. So what's worst case scenario is if Subaru gets gagged and chained up, or put into an otherwise comatose state, because then he can't use return by death. And gluttony seems to be the most effective way to make that happen, because there's no reason that somebody would like tie up Subaru and gag him. Like you would have to make such a leap of like a crazy judgment call in order to interrupt Subaru, because nobody even understands that Subaru has this ability, right? So it's like, why would you try to like counter an ability that he doesn't even have? You know? You're just gonna eventually slip up and be like, well, we want to get information out of him, right? That's why we captured him. Let's torture him, take his gag off. He says, I can return by death. He kills himself. It's all reset. But gluttony would be an exception to that rule. Yeah, I don't know. That's a very curious situation. Also, I don't really remember. I kind of this is gonna be. I'm gonna self-report. I don't remember what put Betty out of commission that well. Other than it was just the last thing I remember with Betty, which this is probably what it was fighting Regulus, and it used like a lot of. Wasn't it that it used a lot of her mana to do like the phase ability? Because like Subaru and Betty phased through him for a second, something like that. Yeah, and so that probably, I think that's what put her out of commission, but I don't actually remember like super well. And to be fair, that was like 6 months ago or whatever. Or that was a while ago because it was Core 1. However long Core 1 was ago. But yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting situation. I'm kind of glad that Capella gets to live because I really like her character. She's an incredibly fun character and like also an interesting villain and also very cute. So I'm totally, for her to get away is lit. Rip Regulus. I know you're a piece of garbage, but I really liked him as a villain too. So I'm glad that one of my villains that I really, really like gets to survive a bit longer, Sirius is pretty lit too, but we don't know her situation. Gluttony's, well, we'll see where the Gluttonies go. We'll see if they live. They definitely do got good dramatic potential with the whole Rem situation, especially if Subaru gets dropped into this. So yeah, that should be interesting. Though, that's all I got for this one. On to the next should be exciting. Of course, if you like the video, subscribe. If you're new, blah, 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 comment below if you have anything to say, or join the Discord and talk to me other Easy fans. They're link in the description. But of course, I forgot how the outro goes. I'll be seeing you on the next one. Peace.